we go. Right, we're recording. Hey everyone, Lee Ashby here from Motocross Memories Worldwide. As a lot of you know, I've been doing a special series of Speedway interviews lately, and I've got another cracking one for you this evening. I've got none other than Mr. Swindon Speedway himself, Mr. Alun Rossiter. How's it going, Alan?
Good, Lee. Thanks. How are you?
Really good, thanks. Really appreciate you coming on. Everyone's been looking forward to this one.
No problem. I hope so, anyway.
yeah. Right, let's crack away with these questions. I believe you raced motocross in your youth days in the BSMA. Where did you ride and how did that start? And then how did you get into the Speedway after that?
Well, basically, I started off doing schoolboy motocross with the likes of Kenny Nurden, Tim Wheeler, back in the day. And we were all pretty close. We were big rivals at the time. We were kids. I rode for Morden Schoolboy Scramble Club. I did Scramble. My God, I'm showing my age.
I know.
Oh, no, sorry. No, don't say Scramble.
Scramble, yeah. That's brilliant.
Morden. I rode for Corsham Schoolboy Motor Club. And I did the BSMA rounds, and I finished second to Tim Wheeler. Obviously, I think his brother did quite well, Brian, didn't he?
Yeah, he went into all the world championships and everything,
yeah. So, it was quite good. I was on the Aspis at the time, and I had a Suzuki myself early days, and it wasn't quick enough. I was always good around the technical stuff, around the dips and around the bends, passing people out. But as soon as you got on a long straight, the old Motor Minarellis, they just went...
Slept it, yeah.
And I finished second to Tim, and and then we were looking at it. We were waiting for the RM80 Yamaha to come out, and it didn't come out in time. And then my dad, we had a chat. Well, I probably wasn't young enough to have a chat, and we decided to give Grass Track a go. So I stepped out, but I had a very good time in there. I won lots of trophies in schoolboy motocross, scrambling, whatever you want to call it.
It's too late to backtrack on the scrambling.
Oh, scrambling, who cares?
Yeah, that's good. That's all memories, mate.
But no, one of my favourite tracks was Maysmore, and I'm a member of the schoolboy memories that comes up on the schoolboy page, and a lot of people still rave about it. And it was remember the little river, the little lake, but you can either go to the right and jump it or go through it. And I 9 times out of 10 I went straight through the water because it was quicker, because everybody just jumped that little jump to the right of it, and I used to get a few people there.
Yeah, they ended up putting quite a few jumps in it, obviously, now as they do. It become quite jumpy in the end, but yeah, it was a really good track.
The only thing, I look at motocross now, and I just see these big berms, and they're like the depth of like the bikes and everything. And
ruts and that,
I call me old-fashioned, but there's no skill in that. You had to get in the berm. Before, you could go 3 or 4 across the breast of the track and try and pass somebody. Now, if you don't get in that berm, you could end up and then you shoot past it. And I don't know. It doesn't look so much fun no more.
Yeah, I think quite a few might agree with you on that one. Okay, right. Up to the next question. What Speedway riders... Yeah, exactly that. What Speedway riders did you look up to and idolise when you were young, and why? And did you ever get to race any of your heroes?
Not my old heroes. Obviously, Bob Kilby was one of my biggest ones. He was my mentor, everything. And we were great friends up until he sadly passed away. When I had a pub near him, and he used to come over and do a bit of maintenance for me. And many a time the Jameson got tipped into the coffee, and I put a little bit in. He went, "Oi, tight, put a bit more in." But obviously Bob, Barry Briggs, and obviously Martin Ashby, I was around in them days, and they were all great riders. Like,
yeah. Did you? So obviously,
but a modern day one, I would probably say the ultimate one for me would be Tony Rickardson. I just think he just moved the bar. He moved the bar and set it, and everybody as a strive to be as good as what he is now.
Very professional, wasn't
Yeah.
he? Okay, next one I got. Who were the toughest riders to compete with in your British League racing days and why?
Oh,
Quite a few of them, weren't
there was quite a few. Martin Goodwin, hard but fair.
Yeah.
Very good rider back in the day. Fortunately, I had quite a few of the Aussies on my side because they were in my team. Craig Boyce, Tony Langdon, Steve Schofield, Marvin Cox. We even though I'm born and bred, and everybody say I'm Mr. Swindon, but I had all my success at Poole. Really, we had success at Swindon whatsoever.
Yeah.
So I went to Poole, 3 league titles, three cups in my career. So it was that was where my success all come from, really.
Yeah, very good team that you were in, and all those names that you mentioned just then.
Yeah, no, it was obviously Pete and Merv, Pete Ansell and Mervyn Shoots. Swindon sold me in 1989 to fund the signing of Andrew Silver, and they bought me for £10,000, and it sort of went on from there. And in '94, we actually won the equivalent to what the Elite League is now.
Yeah, really successful time for you there at Poole. Yeah. Next one I got. Was there a certain bike or engine that you rode over the years that was a bit of a favourite for you? And if so, what year do you remember that was or anything?
I think really the GM stands out.
Yeah.
I think, I was fortunate to go from the upright to the nowadays lay down. Yeah. So, I think the GM was the one, really. Even though I tried the Godden, I tried the Jawa, the Westlake, 2-valve Jawa. Tried them all. But I think the GM was the one, really. It was the quickest and the nicest.
Okay, cool. What were your favourite tracks in the British League and why?
I used to like Peterborough a lot because it was big, fast, and I had some great meetings there when I had a good engine. I remember helping Jimmy Nielsen for a few years when he did the Grand Prix, and Jimmy gave me one of his engines, and I actually had some great races on it and beat some very good riders. So sometimes I think, sometimes it's better to get an engine from somebody else and it works for you.
Yeah, for sure. And any other? Is there any tracks around the world as well that you really enjoyed, as well as out of Britain?
I was quite fortunate. I did the long track. I did the long tracks in Australia for Ivan Major's meet tours in '92. We did the tours around Australia. We started off at the Gold Coast, went to Canberra, went to Mildura. Then we went over to the trotting track in Addington in Christchurch, New Zealand. That was pretty special. And, riding a wide trotting track. They put a 19-inch wheel in because normally the long tracks have 22-inch wheels. Okay. But we put 19-inch Speedway wheels in. And but it was pretty gnarly. And just, I didn't know what to expect. I'm thinking, would I be a little bit nervous of the speed and that? But actually, when you were on it, you actually wanted to go faster. Yeah. And there was a lot of good riders on it. Gert Riss, Ivan, Jason Crump, Phil Crump were riding and that. And there's another one. Crumpy was one of my ultimate heroes, Phil Crump,
Yeah, for sure. What track did you not like racing in the British League and why?
What I didn't like in the British League? Eastbourne wasn't one of my favourite ones. I think the best meeting I had there, I went there with an engine that was completely knackered. And I think I got about 11, paid 12. I've never scored that much amount around there. Newcastle in the championship in the old one, but I think Eastbourne was not one of my. It was all right. It wasn't as if it was rough, but to be fair, I preferred it towards the end when they cut the corner in, and because it was so. And I think what the problem was with the original track when you went into that corner, it was so narrow, and I just couldn't get my head around it.
It was quite a small track, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, next one. Did you have a favourite levers or Kevlars that you wore during your racing day? Was there a favourite that you wore?
No, I think I had some I had a couple of nice sets of levers back in the day. GTS levers made some great levers back in the day. Had a couple from America, NJK.
Yeah.
And then the Kevlars come in, and to be fair, the Kevlars are so much better and lighter.
Yeah, easier to wash and all that, I'd imagine, and all that sort of stuff.
Jet wash them straight in the old machine.
Perfect. Okay, next one I got. Did you have any superstitions or anything when you raced, or did you have anything specifically you had to do on race days, anything like
that? If I had a good meeting, I'd wear the same under mask.
Oh yeah.
I'd wear the same goggles. I'd wear the same socks, and I would wear the same. I used to always wear long johns underneath my race suit because of the stones. Sometimes it used to get quite painful, and I'd wear long johns. It have to be the same. Everything. If I had a good meeting the time before, everything with gloves, goggles, mask, underpants. Even I'd wash them, obviously, before anybody says anything.
You sure? You sure?
Everything the same. It would be the same. And then when you'd have a crap meeting, then you go, oh, whatever, just chuck anything on then.
Yeah, go back to normal. Okay, cool. That's cool. Was there any star riders that you were really close to signing when you've been manager, either at Swindon, Coventry, or wherever, that fell through that you thought was going to be done?
I think probably the biggest signing I ever made was Emil Safutanov in my management career.
Yeah.
And I think probably the shrewdest deals that we've done at Swindon is swapping Magic Janowski for Jason Doyle.
Yeah, at that time.
I don't think many people knew about that. And I think probably the best one was a guy from Working called Eddie Ingles, the American.
Oh yeah.
Rode for Workington.
Yeah.
We swapped him for Peter Kilderman.
Wasn't a bad one, was it?
No, I think
it was a 4-point average at the time, wasn't he? Wasn't it Peter Kilderman when he was at reserve, wasn't it?
We gave him Eddie Ingles, and we ended up with PK.
Yeah, and he absolutely stomped it.
That one sort of stick out, Doyley, and obviously Emil was the one that we brought over when I was team manager for Coventry in 2010.
I remember that was massive at the time as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was a cool one for sure.
And we never got the benefit because we rode about 6 meetings away before he actually rode at Coventry.
People on it.
Yeah.
Cool. Next one I got. Did you have any injuries in your career that you feel that held you back from achieving more in the sport? And if so, what was that?
I'm going to be blatantly honest. I had never had no injuries really in the day. I had the one that really finished me in 2002. Probably if I had a bit more dedication, I would have gone on a bit further. Yeah. I think. You never say that. Oh, if you could change something. I had a ball. I travelled the world. I went from Poland, Russia. I did my under-21 qualifying rounds in Russia back in the day. Going from East to West Germany, getting followed by the gun turrets, going out there, and you're out in the park, and you've got a minder following you everywhere you go. Everywhere you went, things like that.
Yeah,
probably, I'd say, no regrets, but probably if I'd knuckled down a little bit earlier days, I probably could have maybe done a little bit more, but no regrets. I've travelled the world, as I said, been to Australia. Not many people can say that. I think one of the funny stories was me and my friend Frankie Cox. We were travelling to Russia. I just bought a brand new Volkswagen LT28 diesel. And I had a qualifying round in a place called Rovno in Russia. And we went up to the Robin Arms. We took some camping gear, so obviously we can cook on the way. Yeah. And we in the thing, filling up the basket. And the girl says to you, "Where are you boys off to? Camping anywhere nice?" We said, "Russia." She looked at us as if to say, "Yeah, righto."
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah,
we were actually going to Russia.
That's mad.
So, no, I mean, we've had a ball, so many stories and stuff like that. It's been fantastic, with what with the memories and everything. And it just, like I said, you can't regret anything, but probably the slightest thing. If I knuckled down, I probably could have done a bit more.
Okay, cool. Next one I got. What riders were your favourite to team ride with, and why?
Craig Boyce was great.
Yeah.
Boise was very, very good. When had some great times with him. Marvin Cox again from my pool days. Gary Allen was pretty good too. The Kiwi. There's a few. I'm just trying to think now who's the main ones I'd be with. Come on, Lee, you remember the days?
Yeah. During those days when you did the team riding, did you? Oh, what about Richard Halsane?
Yeah, we had me and Rick was good because obviously, we had a good partnership with Ricard. Obviously, we were sponsored by F&J Transport back in the day in them white and blue leathers.
White leathers, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, whiter than white.
Adver Robins, I think it was, wasn't it?
Jimmy Nielsen was fantastic.
Yeah.
Jimmy's another hero of mine as well. And we're still good friends. I've been to see him quite a few times in Florida, and we keep in touch still now. And Jimmo knew how to team ride as well.
Yeah, I'll hopefully get.
And
Brian Cargo, yeah.
It's all coming back now.
Yeah, see that we've got flowing now. Yeah, did you prefer when you did team riding? Did you prefer to take the inside on the team riding or the outside?
I was good at the old white line. Got to say, everybody should take the mickey out of me. Martin, a bit like your Uncle Martin.
Yeah.
Pin it round the line. I think, apart from Darcy Ward, there was no other person as good on the white line as Crash was.
Yeah, for sure. Good old days, eh? Right, the next one I got for you. What British track or venue had the best changing rooms and why, and the worst? This would be interesting.
Bradford was the best.
Bradford was the best. Is that because it was a bit of a rugby thing there as well, wasn't there?
Everything we had showers, you had everything there.
Yeah.
Probably the worst were Weymouth.
The old Weymouth. Yeah.
Newcastle. I have to say, in Speedway, some of the tracks are abysmal.
Yeah.
When you turn them on and they're just like dribbling out. There's the one thing after you've had a hard night, nothing better than a nice shower going. I'd say it's the one thing that lets the sport down for the riders. The showers are atrocious.
What are Swindon's like at the moment?
Well, they're a bit up and down, but I think we got it not bad. We finally got it. That's only because being an ex-rider and knowing the riders
makes a difference.
But Peterborough's were pretty good. Yeah. They got porter cabins, and then they'd have a separate one just to the side. They were good, but I don't think you'd ever beat Bradford's.
Nice, cool. Okay, next one I've got. It's well known, obviously, your attachment to your hometown club, Swindon Robins. You were the mascot, then a rider, then obviously now manager and co-promoter. How special was that personally for you? Did you ever dream as a youngster that could possibly happen?
Obviously, my riding days, I never really got the success with the club. So, and I think the monkey of the 67 boys was just hanging over our back, and people from supporters and that, 1967. And then finally in 2012, it was just a pure relief and a bit, you said it going. Everybody knows I'm quite an emotional person anyway, and it was just tears of joy really, and it was just like respect to them guys what they did, but it was just like so special to finally break that sort of deadlock. And the thing was, I obviously started in 2004, and then I went to Coventry in 2010, then straight away won the league. Yeah. So really that helped me get the monkey off my back. Yeah. Because everybody was saying, "No, you're never going to do it. You're never going to do it." And then 2012, 2017, 2019. No, it was three.
Yes,
there was three, isn't it? Yeah.
So you're certainly making your own legend stories now, that's for sure.
Well, I have to say, you kind of doubted yourself. And eventually, in the end, whilst people are always great, always good to put you down. And
quick to do that.
Certainly in sport, and in the end, I actually believe in myself. I stopped thinking, well, maybe I am rubbish. Maybe I'm not good enough. But actually, in the end, I started saying, well, no, I've done this, I've done that, I've done this. And I look back at the moment, what I've achieved. And it sounds like some people say, oh, listen to that cocky git. It's not being cocky. It's there in writing for you.
Yeah.
It's there now. And if I don't believe in myself, nobody else.
Who's going to? Yeah.
There is a lot of people that do, which is fantastic. But there are a lot of people that like to knock you down, they like to build you up and knock you down. But actually, when you look at my achievements as a manager now, I have to say that I ain't doing too bad.
No,
but
that's for sure.
I probably get criticised for saying that.
No, I personally as well think that's pretty special. To win it, like you said, 3 times. Making your own legends now. So
yeah, it's
no one can take that away now.
No, exactly, and obviously the GB stuff.
Yeah.
2 silver medals. And probably for me the highlight was probably winning in Poland. When we always used to say, we only do well when we do it in our own backyard.
Yeah.
But when we went to Wrocław that time, and we won on the Friday, won on the Saturday, and we lost it in the final. But the following year they changed the concept, and if we'd done the same the year before, we would have won it.
It's difficult, isn't it?
But that was special, for me as GB, to win it. And then people say, oh, you had Ty Woofenden. Yeah, but Russia had Emil, Artem Laguta, Freddie, Peter Lung, Hans Andersen, Niels Christian Everson. They all had their stars. I had Robert, who was only a youngster, and Ty, he done very well. But people just want to have a little. They can't just congratulate you for what you've done. Like.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. But you've achieved a massive amount, so fair play. Right, next one. What has been your most memorable race or meeting that you raced in, and why does it still stick in the memory today?
A tough one, really. I had some good meetings over the years. I think for Swindon, the semi-final when me and Gary Allen got a 5-1 in that knockout cup. That one's still there, and a few people have shared it on Facebook.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah,
I've watched it, and it's pretty special.
Yeah,
and where we get the Abbey Roar from, and you can understand. When that comes about. Riding for my country, ridden for England quite a few times. I was quite fortunate to do that.
Yeah, that was cool.
But I had some great meetings at Peterborough again. I had someone there, but the one that sticks in mind is probably that one for Swindon, really, because I didn't really have a lot of success at Swindon.
Yeah.
As a
I remember
rider.
that night. That was a hairs on the back of the neck job. That was, wasn't it?
Yeah, we had to get 5-1.
Yeah, a lot of pressure on it. Yeah.
Lost to Glasgow in the final, didn't we?
Yeah, but that was pretty cool. I remember that night. I was there.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. Who were your closest friends during your speedway career, and how easy was it to block that friendship out once the tapes went up?
That's a tough one, really, because I think even though they're your friends, you still wanted to beat them. I think that was a thing. You wouldn't stick them in the fence. You wouldn't be harder. You'd be hard on them because they're your mates, and you'd want to beat them. Again, going back to it, Craig Boyce is a big friend of mine over the years. We had a lot of success together. But there's many. But even that's the funny thing in Speedway is that we're all mates when we're talking in the pits. But then once you put that helmet on, that's
business, it. Yeah, business.
Let's mean business. Let's get on with it, and you want to beat them.
Yeah, that's cool. Did you have any special relationships with any mechanics that you really got on with well?
The funny thing is, over my years, I was quite fortunate. I drove the truck for the MotoGP team, and I got involved with with Alex Crivier's crew, who were all a bunch of Australians, and I was still racing Speedway then. I drove the Shell Advance truck, and I drove the truck from from Zolder in Belgium to Jerez.
Oh, yeah.
Then got a plane back to Poole, raced for Poole on the Tuesday or Wednesday, and then I flew back out to. Then they got the truck up to the Catalonia in
Spain,
Barcelona.
Yeah, Spain,
then I picked the truck up there, then took it up to Assen, and I got to meet Mick Doohan's dad in his motorhome. Jeremy Burgess, I got to know.
I didn't know you did that.
Say a lot of the Aussie mechanics that were working for Alex Crivier at the time were big Speedway fans, and once they realised I was there, they're all coming over, and everybody's looking at who's this bloke they're talking to.
Yeah.
You felt a bit of a superstar at the time, but all these people are like, oh, he still rides motorcycle, he rides Speedway, and they all love that. The mechanics love their Speedway, and it's quite funny, really. So yeah, there's a couple of things there that sort of stick out.
Yeah, I didn't even know that myself personally. That's pretty cool. You sort of touched on it earlier. I did have a question about, was there any Speedway regrets, as in, like, was there any teams that you wish you didn't sign for or anything like that? But you've pretty much covered that. I mean, you didn't really have any regrets.
I don't think there was any regrets. Probably, if you're a Swindon fan, you'd say you rode for Oxford, but is either riding for them or not having a team place. So
yeah, you got to
must, do it. But I got my first maximum riding for Oxford in top flight level. So apparently, I was in the papers only a week or so before that, saying I'd gone 300 odd meetings without a full maximum. So yeah, it was against Hull, and I passed Sam Umalenko from the back. So that was pretty cool.
Do you know what? I was there. I remember that.
I did decline Heat 15 because I wasn't going to...
Yeah, do that now. Sorry.
You're right.
Yeah, I remember that. That was really cool. I was there. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Another cool memory. I've got a question of, tell us a funny story from your racing days. You mentioned one about your Russia trip.
The Russian trips was fun. The Australian trips were good. I think probably the coolest thing was racing for Great Britain in 87, 88. We toured Australia. We started off in Perth.
Yeah.
And then we went across to mainland Australia to Sydney. And the bikes were in crates back in them days. Picked the bikes up. We travelled around. And actually, I'm still to this day, the last official touring side that went to Australia and beat the Australians in their own backyard 5-2.
Ooh.
And that was the likes of Todd Wiltshire, Stephen Davis, Phil Crump, Lee Adams.
The Aussies were stacked as well.
Yeah. 2 Severners on the tour. The rest were all Northerners. We were the Sunbright Lions at the time.
Yeah, I remember Sunbright Lions. Yeah, who was in the team then? Was that like Doncasters and that sort of lot?
Yeah. No, there was me. There was me. There was Neil Evans, me, Paul Thorpe, Peter Carr, Sean Wilson, Andy Smith.
Top guys, them guys.
Yeah.
Loved them days.
Yeah, but it was good. Like, when you're like 20 years of age, you're flying out, on a free trip and getting paid for it.
Happy days.
Go to Perth, start off in Perth, and then to go to mainland Australia, Sydney up to Brisbane, then down to Mildura, and just race all around, and to win the series 5-2 was pretty special. And sadly, we still hold the record because nobody's done it since.
I don't know, a cool one then in the books.
Yeah.
Didn't know that either. I'm learning a lot tonight already. Who was the biggest influences in your Speedway career?
I'd say probably Bob Kilby, because I got to know him so well. He helped me a lot, and then he helped me after, when he just come to meetings with me. Brigo was great, and still is now. Still speak to Barry. Still looks young, fresh. Looks absolutely fantastic for his age. My mum and dad. If it wasn't for them, I would never have been anywhere. I mean, again, when I went to Australia, I blew a bike up, and it wasn't the day you could just courier it over. I had to put it in a box, send it to Australia. And, you know, they bought me a brand new bike on my 18th birthday, bought me motocross bikes, grass track bikes. So without their help, I wouldn't have got anywhere where I am today, really.
Spot on, superb. Cool. You managed, obviously, Team GB, as we've touched on, and you won medals. You mentioned the 2 silver medals there. How was that experience, and did you enjoy all that? Obviously, must have been a lot of pressure on and all them sort of things, and the doubters again, as you said.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Just got to a point at the end where, you know, hindsight's a wonderful thing, and with Russia, it's not like you can just pop the pole and get on a plane in the morning and be there. You need visas and everything, and it kind of just dragged me down, and a few internal things that were going on which I wasn't very comfortable with. And I just felt, well, I've done 6 years, 2 silver medals, missed out, one on a bronze, but I would say pretty successful, and no regrets, and I can hold my head up high, really.
Yeah, for sure. Next one. What do you think about obviously the news about that Jason Crump making his shot return to British Speedway after many years retired? And were you ever in the running to sign him?
No, unfortunately, I was never in the thing with signing when you got the likes of Jason Doyle, and Jason come back on an 8-point average, believe it or not, even though he's been out for that long. Jason was ringing me constantly in the winter, and with recently as well. We've stayed very good friends, close friends, probably one of the closest friends that I've got in that respect. We've been good friends. He lived with me when he had his racing career, and we've all stayed very close, and we'd always stay in contact. But yeah, no, it was it was really fantastic news that he was going to come back, but unfortunately, due to COVID, it sort of put it to rest, unfortunately.
Yeah, very much a bummer, wasn't it? It was a bit of a shock, to be fair. Did you sort of know about it? Did he mention it to you, speak to you about it?
He sort of said, I think I'm coming back, and we talk. Obviously, we tell each other stuff that we'd keep secret, but yeah. He gave me a heads up,
That's cool. Very cool. Okay, what do you actually feel were your best achievements in Speedway as a rider, and why?
Probably Paul Speedway.
Winning the league.
My tour of Australia for Great Britain, England, England Lions. But yeah, generally, Paul Speedway. That was where all my success come. I had some fantastic times down there.
You won cups as well as league, wasn't it?
Yeah, we won 3 league titles and 3 league and cups as well.
Very successful that was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Very good team down there. Next one I got. You won titles in Speedway as a team rider. Did you prefer to be part of a team than ride in individual meetings? And if so, why? Did you prefer to be?
I struggled, really. I think my only success, actually individual, I won the Johnny Hoskins Memorial at Newcastle Motordrome in Australia.
Oh, right.
I had individual meetings where I come second and third, but I never actually won anything over here.
Yeah. And
I kind of missed out 4th or 5th, 2nd or 3rd. The Scottish Opens I did. But actually my only success probably, I'd say, was at Newcastle Motordrome in Australia when I won the Johnny Hoskins Memorial in '88.
You did plenty of British finals as well, didn't you, as well?
Yeah, I did the British final and missed out getting to the overseas, intercontinental, whatever they called it back in the day then. Yeah. They were fantastic. 15, 20,000 fans. Amazing. There was no better meeting. The British finals were special.
Yeah, great.
On a hot, sunny afternoon,
Coventry,
in front of their big crowds. It was pretty special. Yeah. And trying to wade through the crowds, getting into the pits and that. You don't see that now.
No.
They were very special.
Yeah, I remember them very fondly. Next one I got. Was there any riders that you didn't get on with too, disliked and enjoyed racing against? Was there anyone? Or any few?
I don't know, really. There was always a few back in the day, but I used to have a few ups and downs with Phil Morris. I actually get on great with Phil now. Me and Phil, whether it's the Welsh thing or anything to do with it, but we'd end up clattering into each other. I had a few excursions with Martin Dugard as well.
Oh, did you?
And been known to throw it about a bit as well. Generally, just the odd few. But yeah, they're the only ones I could think of. But as I said, the funny thing is now I get on really well with Phil and speak to him on quite quite often basis.
He was at Reading, wasn't he? Quite a bit.
Yeah, Reading.
Yeah.
And he's at Newport and stuff back in the day and stuff.
Yeah.
We'd end up like just coming together and
Just
it's just one of them things. And me and Phil had this thing. I don't know why. I didn't really like him, but I actually think he's a great bloke now.
Yeah. Well, at least that turned around. Right, next one I got. Who would you say were the best three riders that you've ever competed against, and why in your career? Best three.
Probably Tony Ricardson one.
Yeah.
Probably Jason Crump.
Yeah.
And I think Craig Boyce. I keep going back to Boyce here. I've got a lot of affinitive to him. He was a good guy, and he achieved quite a lot. And people don't realise what he actually achieved. Really,
he went close, didn't he? He was in the runoff, wasn't he? That last world final, was it?
Yeah, in Voyens. I was there in the crowd. Yeah. I was in Voyens watching it. Yeah.
Was it that season he rode for Swindon, or was it the year after? Because he rode for Swindon around that time.
I think it might have been the year after. It might have been.
I think it was.
100% sure.
Don't quote me on it. As well. Yeah, he did well Swindon. Yeah, he was a very good rider, for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, cool. If there was, you could.
Jimmy as well. Jimmy Nielsen.
Jimmy Nielsen.
Jimmy without shadow.
He was one of my favourites, to be fair.
Yeah, yeah.
Class act.
Yeah, class act.
Yeah, followed him.
Very underrated rider.
He was unlucky a few times, I think, as well. He was sort of fourth, fifth.
Shoulders and that, yeah.
And he did well in the GP, like you said. He come runner-up, didn't he, in the GP one year as well?
Yeah, yeah. No, top guy, absolute top guy.
Yeah, very good. If you could give advice to any youngster out there who wants to be a pro speedway rider, what would it be?
The thing is, being a manager now, if what worked for me back in the day, if I had that attitude now, you won't get anywhere. Yeah. You have to move with the times. Speedway's involved in the times. Engines have moved on. Carburetors have moved on. I think the biggest thing now is fitness. I don't think you need to go overboard. I think there is a certain extent that some people are going a little bit pushing it too far.
Yeah.
I think eating healthy and the fitness side of it is important. But if you're a gifted rider, you don't need it. But I think then you get left behind by the guys that are fit now.
It's very professional now, isn't it? All that sort
of stuff. It's every sport's moved on.
Yeah, massive.
Darts, everything's moved on, involved. Everything involves, and Speedway is no different. It's involved, and I think the professionalism. Back in the day, you have a mechanic, you'd pay him, you buy him fish and chips down. You buy him 3 or 4 pints in the bar, have a 3 or 4 pints, then go down the fish and chip shop. Now these guys have got shakes. Yeah. They've got salads and everything when they're going home. All of it is, that's the way it's going. I think it can be an overkill to some point. So I don't believe it can work for everybody. As long as you're fit and reasonably healthy, I think, you should be all right. But that is important now.
Yeah, for sure. What other sports do you enjoy doing or watching?
I enjoy watching the MotoGP.
Yeah.
I do. I quite watch him because there's funny when you know somebody, it's a lot easier. Jake Nichols, I like watching when he's riding, and I remember when his dad, Guy Nichols, who's got a very successful TRU7 business, and I was there when Jake won his first title, and he always said, and I was going to the meeting when he could have won it again last time.
Yeah.
And then it got cancelled or he got injured. I couldn't remember because he invited me along. She said, I remember you came along and invited me to the bus. I think he was riding for KTM at the time.
Yeah. He's been unlucky with some injuries lately. He could have won British titles and stuff. He's been
put his hip out in one of them big berms. Berms.
Yeah.
Where's the technical tracks of having a bit of a race and a ding dong with somebody? I watched some old videos of Dave Thorpe and stuff like that. They were like flats, like long straights, bends, and there was a few jumps and that, but it was all about thinking now you just got to be skilled getting into them berms before somebody else. I just frustrates me a little bit. That's the only downside that I see to motocross now, and I do enjoy it. I mean, like you got one of the best tracks in the world on our doorstep. You know, that's a good racing track. Yes, a few drops and jumps, but there's still lines where if you're a good rider in the technical bits, you can beat people with that. Like,
this would be an interesting question for you. What things would you change in British Speedway if you could going forward?
Wow, probably I'd probably go for an independent body.
Yeah,
I think everybody's in the same opinion.
yeah.
Not that anybody's doing anything, but just everybody's perception that somebody's get in their own way and because they're involved or in that. I just think it'll take it away from it.
Yeah.
An independent governing body. Whether it'll come, I don't think so.
I was going to say, do you think that'll ever happen?
It could happen, but who knows?
It's a bit of an open-ended one, that one.
Yeah.
You amazingly won a lot as a team manager. We've touched on it earlier. Is there a certain one that stands out and felt a bit extra special for you?
Well, there's two really, because you can never forget your first one.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it wasn't in the
Coventry.
Robins. It was for Coventry.
Yeah.
And I started in 2004. I had about 2 or 3 semi-finals and missed out on one final. It was a final as well, 2009. But obviously, you'll never forget your first one. But I think the one at Poole as well, going back to Poole, was pretty special.
Yeah, that was cool.
For people that would go, riding for Poole and then going back. And again, it's about that belief about believing yourself. Yeah. The titles that I've won since 2000, we've won. I say not me. I said the royal we. It's a team. Yeah. You can lead a horse to water. You can't make them drink it. True. The guys should take the credit, but I'd like to think I've led them to the water and they've taken it on board. But obviously, I think Paul would have had a clean sweep from 2010 onwards. Yeah. If you look at all of it, every time it's come to a final, with the exception of last year, I've beaten Paul. Otherwise, Paul would have had a clean sweep from 2010 onwards.
Yeah. Did that feel like obviously when you won Swindon's first one, like you said in 2012, wasn't it? At Poole, was that like, as much as obviously a massive thing, was that a massive relief, like lifted off your shoulders and all that as well at the same time?
Yeah, it was. I don't know what happened there. It was a matter. I think the monkey was off me back in 2010, winning it, going away, no pressure from being a local person, from the people. It was the same as a rider, no different than being a rider. I think that was probably the one mistake. You had any regrets? I had a chance of signing for Coventry in '86. I had a fantastic season up in Coventry. Yeah, the glare of riding for your hometown, coming back. And Bernard Crapper always said to me that was probably one of my biggest mistakes in Speedway, when Charles Ochiltree offered to buy me in '86, '87. But yeah, I think.
Do you think so? When you went to Coventry and obviously won the league there, do you feel that was a good thing, obviously, to go and do that, to get away from the hometown thing?
Yeah, it was good, because I say I'd still involved. I was living in Poole at the time still, and it was a thing that not many people knew, that Matt Ford was involved with Terry. They bought it together for one season, and then Terry bought Matt out at the end of the season. And Matt met me and said, "Look, you got a thing. Would you like to? I want you to be a team manager and promoter." So it went from there, and I did it from 2004 to 2009. I hit the crossbar, as I said a few times, and I'd kind of had a few falls out with Terry and didn't really get on very well at the time. And Gary Patchett was involved, and Terry and I had a few harsh words a few times, and I just had enough, and I walked away, and I just rung Sandu. I remember ringing Sandu because Peter Oakes had said that he was leaving Coventry, And I remember Sandy was going to Morocco, and he was just getting on the plane. I said, just a quick question. I see Peter Oates going, would you be interested in me? He said, too right. He said, I'm just getting on the plane. As soon as I get off the other end, I'll ring you. True to his word, he did.
Yeah.
And then we made that move in 2010. And then Gary Patchett rung me back again. I think they had Jan Steckman, Ronnie had a go.
Yeah.
And then Gary rung me up and said, would you come back? That was when Sandu sold it to Mick Horton.
Mm-hmm.
And then Mick started doing stupid things, signing riders in the wrong positions, the points limit. You know, he had a points limit. He was building like in the middle of the team, top of the team, like not thinking of the bottom. And I thought, when Gary asked me, I thought, yeah, I got to get out of here and just, I can't work for this bloke. I'm glad I got away, really. And then came back 2012 and boom.
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 As Jürgen would say.
Yeah, that was definitely a boom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still remember that well, like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
Right, as well as being obviously Swindon Speedway manager, promoter and manager, you run a pub in the town, and I know you do your lorry driving as well. How did you get into the pub trade and the lorry driving, and do you enjoy them things as well?
It's quite funny. Lorry driving goes hand in hand with sport and speedway. There's always like people like J&B Transport have sponsored me for years. They sponsored the Robins.
Yeah.
They loved their motocross. Andy Bowles did motocross in his day. Pat used to ride for Swindon in early doors, and then I was in the railways, and then a guy sponsored me, Phil Vernon from Dow Freight, took me out and took me to Oxford Road, where they had the black and orange trucks, and I become yard manager of transshipping all the stuff. And if you look at in the motorsport world, there's always a haulage company involved somewhere.
Yeah.
Something. And then when I was 21, I then went and worked for Fred Dean. I left Dow Freight, and then Fred put me through my lorry license on the old South Marston Vickers estate. Yeah. I went in an old cargo, passed that when I was 21. And to be fair, it was at the time when I was struggling financially. So I'd do the driving, then go off to Speedway, come home very late, get up early in the morning, drive me truck. And even now, you know, with the pub problems with this COVID, pubs have been shut for 3 months, and it's always something I've been able to fall back on. Yeah. And I'm very lucky for that. And there's always seems to be jobs out there for lorry drivers, that's for sure.
Do you still enjoy it even today?
Yeah, it's all right. I don't enjoy it as much as I used to. Traffic's horrendous now, and it's no fun. And get to some places, it's long days and stuff like that. But the fun's gone out of the driving, that's for sure. It's become a bit of a grind. But what I'm doing at the moment, I'm quite enjoying. It's quite nice. I'm quite fortunate. I've got a bit of OCD, and they can tend to look after me and give me nice trucks. So I kind of look after them, and inside there, like you could eat your dinner off the floor and things like that. But the thing was a thing that come along when I first started in '97. Had the Dolphin in Robbourne. Yeah. I went then to the Wee Chief in Ermine Street. Then I had a year out from that. Went from the Wee Chief. I had a year out to the Day. I was driving to Wolverhampton, and the guy from Arkles rung me again. He said, "Might have a pub for you might like." And that was when the New Inn came up, and I was in there for 5.5 years. And then I was out of it for about 7.5 years, and I came back in 2.5 years ago into the Southbrook in Southbrook Street off of Ferndale Road by the Oasis.
How's that going?
Great. It's a great pub. It's an old farmhouse. It's like a cottage pub built up in the suburbs, and still to this day it's known as the best kept secret because people still don't know that this pub actually exists here.
Yeah, tucked away in the pub.
Yeah, tucked up with all fields behind, and now it's built up. You know, the houses have been built up in the suburbs.
Do you guys do food down there?
We do Sunday at the moment, obviously with COVID. With all the tape, our capacity is halved. So at the moment we'll probably start again in September. But our Sunday roasts really go really well. We just do proper pub grub, lasagnas, fish and chips, curries, chilies, scampi, salads, puddings, just the general run of the mill stuff, and it goes down very well.
You have some Speedway. You have seen it. You have Speedway get-togethers down there and that thing.
Supporters club now. Lee Kilby's done a few sort of race nights on video. That was probably one of the most successful night that's ever been for a supporters club. There were so many there, and it was a really good thing what he did. And like to put races in, and you put where they would finish and stuff like that. It was excellent. We had the Grand Prix, and obviously when I'm at Speedway, we have the nights on when Swindon are racing, or any other nights when Speedway's on, we have it. So yeah. And we're quite fortunate. We've got 3 large screens, so we keep everybody happy. If people don't like Speedway, we put it in the dining area on a Saturday evening, go in there and watch the Grand Prix and get a good turnout for that.
Brilliant. Okay, only got a few more left for you. What are your thoughts about, obviously, the season's recent news about the British Speedway's been completely scrubbed now for the season? Obviously, it must have been a bit of a devastating thing for you guys.
I wouldn't say it's devastating. I think it was coming.
Yeah, I was getting that way.
He really had the answers. I think as a league we were hoping and praying. But at the back of my mind, I never thought it would happen. But it was when you look at as soon as he said that a week ago, October. Before any crowds get back together, it's going to be October. We knew the season was over then.
It's a shame.
Yeah.
Especially as a lot of the guys were coming back to British Speedway as well. Nicky Pedersen's, Crump.
Hopefully, I'm sure they'll be keen to ride again next year.
Yeah, let's hope so. That'd be cool. What are your future ambitions in Speedway? Even after winning so much now as a manager as you have today, have you still got ambitions for the future?
There's a tough one. There's one little burning. I'd like to have a crack in Poland.
Oh, okay.
I'd like to have a crack in Poland. The thing is with it is that they are different. They are must practice, and their mentality is totally different. If you don't practice, you don't get in the team. Yet you could still be a good rider and things like that. And if you lose a race in practice, then you're not picked and that. I know it would be tough. I know Mark Lemon had to go and found it very, very difficult to change. Their mentality was really hard to try and say, well, I'm doing it this. No, they won't. You shouldn't do that. But who's the team manager? I'm doing it and he did find it very difficult.
Yeah, so you're open to that idea then?
Yeah, I'd like to have a crack. Lesno, maybe. Lesno. Like to have a crack. I've got a lot of good friends over there. So maybe before I'm too old and senile, that would be one of the goals to do.
Oh, that'd be interesting. And finally, what are your social media usernames, if you remember them, so that people can follow you or check you out?
I think my AJ Roscoe on Twitter. Instagram, I think, is AJ Roscoe too. And just Alun Rossiter on Facebook.
Okay, brilliant. Was there any shout-outs you'd like to make before we go?
Yeah, I'd just like to thank the Swindon sponsors and fans for understanding. We had a fantastic year doing the double last year. It's pretty special.
Very,
but the good news is we carry it on till next year now.
So when are you guys going to get together then and sort of find out what's happening with next year and all that sort of thing? Is there anything planned?
I'd like to think it could all stay the same.
Yeah,
it could stay the same, but you never know in Speedway as we anything could happen. So in an ideal world, we'd like to keep it the same. We got the race suits, the riders' gear, and everything. We've all still got that. So in an ideal world, it'd be good just to go back to that.
Yeah, fingers crossed it does. Anyway, we'll look forward to that.
Yeah.
Then. All right, thanks ever so much, Roscoe. I really appreciate your time, mate, and I really enjoyed that.
No worries at all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yeah, very much. So take it easy, mate, and I'll see you soon.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Cheers. Thanks a lot, Roscoe. Cheers, mate.
All right.